friends, tonight we are cooking at my cabin here in Tofino, British Columbia. Oh, by the way, my name is Lisa IA. Hi everybody, if you don't know me already. We are cooking a recipe tonight out of the original SoBo cookbook. And it's gorgeous, gorgeous spring day here in Tofino, and it's one of the first warmer days we've had. So I was super inspired to build a little fire and invite a couple of friends over later for some food. But for now, for video purposes, I'm gonna go ahead and get this recipe ready while I'm waiting for my friends. So we start by building a nice big fire out in our fire pit, if we have one, or light your barbecue grill on your patio, or what have you. You know what? You can even do this recipe in your oven, so there's no excuse not to make this recipe. So I'm gonna start by making the campfire potatoes. This recipe was inspired by my late mother-in-law, Connie IA, who just passed this week, so this is perfect timing for me to honor her. I don't know if she did this on all of her camping trips, but she was an amazing fisherwoman. And I just remember one time eating at her home and these potatoes coming out of a fire. And I think she just caught a salmon, but you know, don't quote me on that. But these potatoes always stood out in my mind and I put them in the cookbook. So Connie, if you're looking down, these are for you. So I start by taking 4 potatoes. You can use red potatoes, you can use little white potatoes, you can use Yukon Golds. You can parboil them if you're in a hurry, or you can just go raw. All we're gonna do is we're gonna dice these potatoes up, we're gonna dice up some onions, we're gonna season them well, we'll put a little bit of olive oil and butter on them, put them in a little wrap of aluminum foil and toss them on the campfire. Okay, they go so good with chicken, they go good with fish, they go good with any vegetarian item that you're gonna grill outside or inside. Okay. So you can see what I have done for the sake of time, because I'm getting hungry now that the day is going on. I've just steamed them or boiled them for about 5 minutes just to make the cooking process be, you know, a little less time. But I don't want to cook them all the way or I wouldn't get those nice crispy bits on the side. Well, here we go. In our foil, and I think this was a way of cooking, you know, like maybe in the 80s and 90s that we've gotten away from, wrapping stuff in foil and tossing them on the grill outside. Certainly in Florida. So Connie went to Florida with her husband every year for as long as I knew her, for the winters, snowbirds I think we called them, and yeah. So simple Simon, boom, boom. So I'm cutting them in a medium dice because if they're too small, they're gonna disintegrate. If they're too large, they're never gonna cook up. Let's season those. Okay. Boom, there we go. Gonna do a little olive oil. A little smidgen of butter. A wee bit. Butter. A little salt. A little pepper. And I love onion. I just love onion. So I'm going to throw some onion in this batch. And this particular recipe, I don't want to add any extra moisture. So I'm going to show you something. A lot of people don't know this, but depending on how you cut the onion, water is different. So more water will come out on your onion if you cut it against the grain, which is this way, which is normally how we would dice. But if you slice in this direction, you are actually not going, the onion will not release as much water, and it will allow for a crispier potato dish. if it's okay to have water, you know, like a caramelized, which can actually benefit from a tiny little bit of steam or water coming out, then cut it this way across the grain. All right, there we go. I'm going to take my bundle, pop it in the middle here, give it a good toss. Feel like I like that, not too much fat on it, whether it be olive oil or butter, or it's going to start seeping out the sides. I'm going to take this one and roll it first, but I'm going to add the second layer, and definitely use heavy-duty aluminum foil for this, y'all. There you go. There's the Texas coming out in me again, y'all. And then, just like a Christmas gift, wrap the ends, and let's go to the fire. Okay, here we are, ready to go. It's as simple as this. I'm going to toss it on the grill. We're going to do the salmon grill. This is my homemade outdoor barbecue unit. Work with what you have, friends. Work with what you have. Here we go. I've talked you through the potatoes. Now it's ready for the salmon. I've got this beautiful side of spring salmon, otherwise known as Chinook or king salmon. This salmon was brought to me by my great friend Lutz, and he has a seafood business out here in Tofino, and he's my go-to guy. He's always hooking me up, and at the last minute notice I need a salmon, and of course he's got one for me. So thank you, West Pacific Seafoods. You're always there for me. All right, little salt right on the flesh. If I put the oil on first, it's going to work as a barrier. You know, oil, mayonnaises, things like that, they were a spread invented to keep sandwiches from getting soggy. So back in the day, that's the whole thing about mayonnaise. Not that this is mayonnaise, but anything that is oil-based, salt it first. Or anyway, I don't know the point of that, but whatever, boom. A little bit of oil to moisten the fish and to let this dry glaze, which as you can see from the book is 3/4 brown sugar and 1/4 of dry mustard. Sometimes I use maple syrup, that's fine. It's just on the Barbie, maple syrup can be a little bit more tricky. This, it's gonna take a little longer, so this is gonna melt nicely on it. When you do this recipe, this little sugar salt mixture actually becomes the sauce. Here we go. Of course, I'm so lucky here in BC to have cedar around me. You can probably buy a Cedar-Planked at one of your seafood stores or hardware stores, but just make sure it's not treated. It needs to be natural, untreated wood. I often like to use cedar shakes, which is very, very thin, but when I'm doing that, I'm gonna soak the cedar shakes in water overnight, or certainly for 10-12 hours to keep it from burning up right away on the fire. But I've got a nice big thick plank, so that's going to protect the fish from direct heat, and it will infuse this beautiful cedar aroma and flavor. And of course, you know, I'm out here cooking in the most majestic forest in the rainforest here in BC. And boom, here we go. Ready? There we go. Right in the fire. Right into the fire. Don't be afraid. And the wood starts to burn, whatever. Relax, it's all fine. No worries. Have fun, cook and have fun. Here's to cooking at home on a fire. Have fun, right? You know, it doesn't look awesome when you've got these smashed potatoes kind of like that, or the salmon's falling apart, but man, if you could taste it, it tastes like home. And I mean home by being outside in the forest, around the fire, on the water, eating local food. These potatoes were grown here, the salmon was caught here. Have a good life, everybody.